Okay, so we've all seen the movies, right? The army captain barking orders amidst a firefight, all that action hero stuff.
Right, very Hollywood.
Totally. But these sources you shared about an army captain's career path, it's a whole other side to the story, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's way more than just combat. What I find fascinating is, the balance. It's leadership, yeah, but mixed with some intense logistics. Like we're talking resource management, making sure equipment's good to go, even coordinating with other branches of the military. It's a
Yeah.
whole different kind of battlefield. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like strategic thinking meets, I don't know, almost like being a project manager, but obviously with way higher stakes.
Exactly. And that's where all that supervising large unit stuff starts to make more sense.
Totally. And speaking of stuff that makes sense, I was really interested in how the sources break down the career stages. It's not just Army captain, it's like this whole path they've laid out.
Right, from entry level all the way up to battalion executive officer.
Hmm.
And each step of the way, it's about the skills you develop.
And you can really see that in the example profile they give for each stage, right? Like they use phrases like proven my ability or earned a master's degree.
It's that constant drive, ambition and always learning. Those are key in this career for sure.
Absolutely. It's not just about hitting a certain rank, it's that upward trajectory.
Exactly. And that really clicked for me when I saw how they describe the daily duties. Because it's not just what the captain does themselves, it's what they're making sure gets done
Yeah.
by their whole unit, which takes a very specific set of skills.
Right. And it's interesting because they list out all these hard skills, leadership, strategic thinking, all that, which, okay, makes sense for the military. But then right alongside it, they've got communication and problem solving as like equally crucial.
Because you're not just giving orders all day. You got to motivate your team, often in really high-stress situations. And that takes more than just barking orders.
It's like they're thinking ahead, Not just what makes a good captain now, but what skills are going to serve you later on, even outside the military, like with that MBA example.
Oh, totally. It's like, remember that battalion executive officer role we talked about? They mentioned an MBA could be part of it. And it makes sense. You're basically second in command for the whole battalion, right? Not just troops, but budgets, resources.
You're practically running a business at that point.
Exactly. An MBA suddenly seems very relevant. So yeah, this career path, it's not just good for the military, it's setting you up for leadership anywhere. Which, side note, is really valuable information for anyone listening, even if they're not, Army bound.
100%. And speaking of helpful info, can we talk about that RoleCatcher section? Because that was eye-opening.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. Most people think getting a job is just like polish up the resume, send it out, hope for the best. But RoleCatcher, they go deeper. They talk about those automated systems, the AI recruiters.
Which, let's be real, most companies are using these days. It's like this whole hidden layer of the job market that nobody tells you about.
Totally. You're up against an algorithm before you even get to a human being. But RoleCatcher, they break it down so it doesn't seem so intimidating. They've got these 3 steps.
Which, thank goodness, because I need things broken down for me sometimes.
Well, first, you got to know what those AIs are looking for, right? What keywords, what skills are they programmed to pick up on? RoleCatcher actually analyzes job descriptions and helps you tailor your application so you stand out to those systems.
So it's like, I don't know, having the cheat codes for the job posting.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And then here's the cool part. You can upload different versions of your resume, right?
Yeah.
And RoleCatcher scores them against each job you're interested in. So you know exactly which version of yourself to put forward each time.
Which is huge because I swear half the time I'm applying for stuff, I'm like, okay, do I emphasize this skill or that experience? Which one's going to land better?
This takes out the guesswork. And then step 3, say there's a skill gap, something you're missing. RoleCatcher doesn't just leave you hanging, it actually gives you suggestions, like maybe you need additional training, or maybe you have transferable skills from other jobs that you're not even thinking about.
It's like having a little career coach in your back pocket.
Right. And that's especially clutch for a role like Army Captain, where, remember, we were talking about the mix of skills. RoleCatcher helps you articulate all of that, the leadership stuff, problem solving, that commitment to learning.
You're putting together the whole picture, not just what you've done, but what you're capable of. And speaking of which, the fact that they also have interview prep built in,
Oh yeah, that whole library of practice questions, over 120,000 of them.
it's intense. But I guess that kind of goes with the territory, right? I mean, the sources didn't shy away from the tough stuff either.
No, definitely not. It's high pressure, high stakes. We're talking potential deployment, long hours, and those decisions you make, they have real consequences. life or death in some cases.
Yeah, not a job for someone who's afraid of responsibility, that's for sure. But at the same time, you're leading, you're mentoring, you're part of something much bigger than yourself.
And the impact you have on the soldiers under your command, that's huge. You're shaping
Yeah.
lives, you know.
You really are. It makes you think about what draws someone to that kind of role, right? What kind of person thrives in those high pressure moments?
It's a certain kind of resilience, a certain drive, and that's something we can all learn from. Even if a military career isn't for us, it makes you ask, what are my motivators?
Hmm.
What pushes me to be better?
Totally. Because there's a reason why people are drawn to challenging careers. Maybe it's about pushing your limits. Maybe it's about seeking out responsibility.
Or maybe it's just about finding work that aligns with your values,
Yes.
right? Whether those values are service, leadership, whatever it might be.
Well said. Because ultimately, what I'm getting out of this deep dive is that being an Army captain, it's not just a job, it's a whole, I don't know, a calling almost.
It's a commitment to a life of service, to leadership, to constantly pushing yourself.
And while that specific path might not be for everyone, the takeaways, those are universal. Resilience, adaptability, that strong moral compass.
Those are valuable no matter what you do.
So listeners, we hope this deep dive gave you a better picture of what it really means to be an Army captain. The good, the tough, and everything in between.
And maybe even spark some reflection about your own career journey, whatever that might be.
Because the most important takeaways are the ones that resonate with you. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, keep diving deep.